Hi everyone. So as promised, I'm going to show you today how to do the eyes and arms, sewing the arms on the head and sewing the head onto the fleece. So stay tuned if you want to know how. Thanks. Bye-bye. So here's the blanket finished, and this is size 4. I love that yarn from Hobby Lobby. And on this one, I did, at the beginning, I did the gray, and then I did 2 in each one, and I did 2, 3, 2, just like I did on the other blanket. And then I did double crochets, and I did 2, 3, 2. So I would do, so in the chain 3, or excuse me, in the 3 cluster single crochet, I did, in the first stitch I did 2 double crochets, then in the second stitch I did 3 double crochets, and then in the last stitch I did 2 double crochets. So that makes the corner really nice. And then I just went ahead and I did single crochets all the way around. So I will show you how I put that on in a minute. And on this one, okay, so what we're going to do is show how we did the eyes first, because you want to do all this before you sew anything on. Hi, so I'm going to show you how to make the eyes on the lovey so that baby doesn't get hurt or swallows anything. So here's the first eye, and what I do is these are little 1-inch pins. And basically I put 4 pins here. This one is a little bit bigger, and I had put the ears, as you can see, a little bit farther down. So you have to judge on however you did it. So I put 4, so I put 1, and there's 2 apart here and 2 apart here. Now that what I used on this one was a size 4, and it's the I Love You yarn from Hobby Lobby. So now we're going to go ahead and measure to do the next one. So I put a pin in the middle, so this is my middle. So I've done 1, 2, 3. So I've got 3, so I want to take my next pin, and I want to go keep it in line with the pin, the green one that's here, and go here, and we did 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. So then we want to stick that pin, and then make sure that it looks like it's 3, because you know how it is when you're doing continuous rounds. So it looks like, and I kind of, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Looks pretty close. So now we're going to take one, and I did these 1, 2 apart. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and then I'm going to stick it in that 1, 2, and then I put 2 at the bottom on this one. So I put 1 here and 1 here. So it's kind of slanted, and then you end up with this little round. So then I took about a 36-inch piece of floss. This is actually some kind of yarn that came in a kit that I don't use kits, so I've been using it for this, and it's great for that. It's a little, very, very thin yarn. So I have a needle, and it is about 2 1/4 inches, and then it's got the, you know, big eye for, it's a yarn needle. So then we want to come down here, and we want to approximately somewhere in the middle, because this is going to be covered up. So look where your pin is up there, and that looks like right at the middle. And I usually start, which would be my left facing here, my right if I'm facing it to me. And I want to bring that pin right up into the blue, or the, you know, the pin that's here, the blue one, if you can see that. Right into that hole. You can lift the pin a little bit. Then I use a needle nose, come around it. Don't pull your pin up. There. And leave a couple inches at the bottom so you can tie it off at the end. Okay, so we've started. I think I got it. Maybe I didn't get it in the right one. Looks like I got it. I see what happened. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're going to go from here. And then we're going to wrap it around the pins, and that'll give us our curve. And then we're going to go into where you see the green pin here. And I'm going to go right into that hole. And then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go right on top. Try to get as close as I can to the black yarn. Sometimes a little bit hard because you can't get through so much with these kind of yarns, but you want to get as close as you can. And again, your needle nose comes in very handy here, so pull that through. Push your pins back down, and then you want to come down over at least one, and that's going to make your eyelash. And then you're going to come up right between the next two, which this one is my yellow and my pink. And try to get that as close as you can. Lift the pins if you need to see where you're going. And again, get that as close as you can to that thread. And push your pins back down. And then go down one, kind of straight, slanted, however it looks, but you want to keep it in the same line with the other one. Or you can make it a little bit longer if you want. You can make the middle one longer, you can make the end one longer, whichever you think looks best. I did on this one, I just went over one on each one. So you might kind of want to push it down and hold it. It looks like it's going to be fine going into that one. So then we're going to go into that one, and again, we're going to push it through there and go in between your last two. So in this case, it's my green and my pink. And I probably didn't need this much thread, but better to have more because having to put it on is kind of annoying. Okay, and then we're going to go, you can go straight or slant or however you want to do that one. And I'm going to just kind of judge what it looks like, push it down and see what it looks like, where you want that. And I think I want it right here. And then we're just going to go right from there. We're going to go right over where you see this yellow pin here. We're going to do the same thing we did in the other one. So I'm going to lift that pin up to make sure that I get it in the right one. And stick the pin back down. Again, use your needle nose. A little bit off, so if it gets a little bit off like it did here, just go ahead. My eyes are not that good with this, and I usually have a lot more light than this in my living room. So I'm just going to try to get that to come through there, right to where I want it. There we go. Okay, set that back down, and And then the same thing on this side. So I'll take these out. And you can see how this side is. So on this one I made 3, this one I did 4. So I did 3 on this, and you can do other ones, you know, you can do it along however you want. So then we're going to do the same thing. You're going to come over here, you're going to wrap that around, and you're going to go into what is my blue one here. And then I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to go right into the top of that. And then try to match it as well as you can to the other side. But remember, this is, you know, it's not, it doesn't have to be perfect. And baby will never know. Baby doesn't care. Baby just wants to hold on to little elephant's trunk. Okay, so we're going to go over one. So kind of match it into here. So look at this one. So this one is like 1. So there's 1 left. So that's what I'm doing here. So there's 1 underneath here. And then bring it back up right in between what is my black and pink one here. Of course my glasses are falling off. That's not helping either. Get as close as you can to that black. Get that black one out of there because it's messing me up. Okay, so now I'm going to come down from that one. Would have liked that a little bit over a little bit, but it is what it is. Okay, and we're again going to go down. This one is not quite as long, it looks like, so I'm going to go down a little bit because this is right where must have been an increase here, so I'm going to go down just a little bit more there. Because if I go down into just one, you're not even going to see it. So this one, and then right back into the last one, which here is my blue and my pink. And this does 2 things. It holds the, it holds this on also, so that helps a lot. By holding on, that holds the curve in there. And then just bring it back down again. And this one, I think I can just do the one again. So it's a little bit longer in the middle on this one. But I'm not going to worry about it. Because if I don't go into that hole, you're not even going to see it because of the way the increase is right there. And then bring it back down to where you started. And I'm going to measure here how much I have left, and that'll give me an idea of how much I actually needed. So I'm going to leave 2 inches. So I have about 25 inches more than I needed. So I'm going to take these out now, make sure that's the way I want it. I'm not crazy about the way the middle one went, but that's what it is. I may take that out. But anyways, that's how that part is. So that's how. So you just have to judge a little bit on the eyelashes as you do them. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do the arms, how to measure them. So on mine here, I made it so that the elephant, when I cut it, that the elephant was kind of to the front here. And so I'm going to kind of find my middle here by doing it in a diamond shape. And then I'm just going to mark my middle here. I covered up my pin, so I'm just going to put a pin in there for the moment. And again, go here. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to put the elephant here, find my middle. And then I want to measure these underneath there, where I want them. So you just want to stick the arms underneath there and decide where they look good. And you want them sticking out enough so that baby can get a hold of them. So I'm going to look here and see. Turn it towards me so I can see if that's where I want it. I think it needs to move over just a drop. Needs to move over just a drop is what I just said. I'm mumbling, I don't know why. Okay, so got it on there, and then I'm going to take the pin. I'm actually going to take one of my longer quilting pins in this case, and I'm going to stick it there. I'm going to stick it into where I want the legs, or the, excuse me, the arms. A little bit off there. I didn't get it quite right here. Thread out of the way. So I'm going to look from the bottom here, and I do have that quite a bit off here. So I'm going to go from the bottom and put that again. So just play with it. And you want his arms pretty well out to the side. See that there? I don't like it there either. So just play with it until you get it where you want it. And I think I want it more out to the side here. I don't know why these are giving me so much trouble. Of course, because I'm making a video. There we go. I slanted it in there. Hopefully I don't get poked. I think I'm going to turn this one. Maybe the problem. I need to turn it around. You do want them more coming up than down so baby can get a hold of them. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I got them on there like that. Still doesn't want to cooperate there, that one, for some reason. Glue on my pins. I do get glue everywhere when I'm gluing. Okay. Oh, that looks pretty good now. So here's this. So see, that'll be like that. So now we want to just sew the arms on. Okay, once you've got the arms sewn on, make sure that you remove all the pins and go ahead and run through the holes with your leftover yarn. I already did it with the arm one. This is the one that I had on the head, just in case I needed extra to sew the arms on, and I did use a little bit of it. So make sure that the arms are nice and secure, and then pull it through a hole and lift, and then cut it close, and then just puff back up. Okay, now I know where my middle is here, so I'm going to decide where I want, and I need to get rid of that pin, so I'm going to get that pin out so it's not forgotten. And this is about a 1.5 inch safety pin. And I'm going to go underneath, and I'm going to pin it on with that. And you may have to do this a couple of times, see where you want it again. Make sure you're getting a hold of the head. It looks pretty much where I want it. Okay, then we'll turn it over. And we're going to want to sew it right around where the pin is. So we're going to use our our button thread, button and carpet thread is what it's called, and a very sharp needle. Now I had one here. So just take your needle, I like a longer needle, and poke it and make sure that it goes well through your fleece and your yarn. So thread that. Take a nice piece and tie your knot. Clip off the end. So we're going to, excuse me, we're going to start in the middle, or excuse me, start at one end, and we're going to work in the middle of the pin, on the end of the pin, around that. Actually, it's a good idea to take it and first, we're going to do an X. We're going to start with an X, a small X. So I'm going to go ahead and push the needle through, and then I'm going to bring it through the thread, and that way it ties on there good. And then I'm going to get a hold of both the yarn and the fleece, and put it through. And then I'm going to go from there. I'm going to take a hold of it again and go halfway, just right next to it. You're not going to see these threads, so, and I'm going to use my fingers, are about raw, and we're going to make kind of like an X to hold it on. And then I'm just going to take another little piece, catching both the fleece and the yarn, and go back over there to the other side. Now turn your work around, make sure you're good. Remove the pin. Okay, now you want to go in that, stay in that general area. It looks like it's on there where I want it. So now you want to go in that general area and just continue to sew the head on. So just kind of stay within that area. Just going back and forth, taking stitches. Keep doing that until you feel like it's on there very securely. Okay, continue to look on both sides so that you get everything where I've got it like right here, you see? So this side isn't quite as much to the arm. So from the front, I'm just going to take a stitch. Make sure you're not bulging or buckling the back. And I'm going to set this a little bit closer here to where I want, and then I'm going to go back over here. So I need to come over here a little bit. There we go. And I'm kind of making a circle. See a little bit of a circle there. So now I'll come back over, check your other side. Okay, you can still go a little bit closer to the arm on mine here. Trying to see where the other side, how far I did. And then check and make sure that it looks really good on this side. Looks pretty good there. And then just continue in the middle of that circle. Make sure, just use up your thread. And then check the back too well. Yeah, that looks... maybe just a little bit right there. Looks like I could just use a little bit right here in the back. Okay, then the last thing you're going to do is go ahead and tie that off. Good. Double knot it at least. And then cut that off. And you can fill your needle again if you want with the thread, because you're going to use that to sew the circle on. So you can get that out of the way. Put enough on there so that you're going to be able to cover the circle. Not the end of your yarn. Cut that little piece off. Got that one pretty high. And set that aside for the moment. Okay, with a 2.5, I have it here somewhere, but I've done other projects since, so I don't know what happened to my 2.5. Anyways, I'm going to use a 3 for the moment. It's not going to make a lot of difference. We're just making a circle. So just go ahead, pretty much how you started out with the elephant, and do your magic circle and chain 1 and do 6 single crochets, 4, 5 and 6, and then you want to double that. And I think what I did for the other one was I ended up with doing 18 to cover the hole. So you just need to make it big enough to go ahead and cover that hole. double here, 1, 2, and you can mark that. I don't have my marker in here. 3, 4, 5, 6. I may have only ended up with 5, 7, 8. That's why I don't like to do things without my marker. And with this, it doesn't really matter, so I'm just going to continue with this. So that's 10. And then just continue with that and do 1, and then 2 in the next one. And that's probably going to give you 15 then. So that's 3, 4, okay, yeah, if you did 6, you'll have 18. If you did 5, you will have 15. And then just go into the back and see if that circle is big enough to cover all of the thread that's sticking out. So just a little tiny circle like that. So it looks like it's big enough at 15. So you're 18. If you did 18, then that should be plenty big. So now you want to just go ahead and sew this on. I did slip stitch also into the first stitch. And then I brought the extra thread until it hit the other thread so I could knot those two together. And then just tie a knot. A double knot is always best. And then just weave those ends in. And try to weave the two ends in opposite of each other, so one this way and one the other way, so that you don't get too much bulk. And then just cut those ends off as close as you can to the yarn. And then again, just take it and use your pins. Don't forget to take them out when you're done. And get that covered up as close as you can. And I just put them like in the second round, so you'll be able to go around the other one. And you can use the color of thread too if you want. I just like to use the button and carpet thread because it's a much heavier thread. So I'm going to leave that open so I can go underneath there. So take your needle and just lift this up and start it underneath there so you can get it in there. I'm trying to get a hold of a little bit of the yarn too, of the head. So then again, and push your yarn to push your needle through the two. I'm wanting to open. Fingers are muddled. So I'll push that end in and then just come out around and just sew that on. Just going in and over, under into each one of those 15 or 18 single crochets that you just made. So just go all the way around till you hit the end. Then when you get to where you started, I like to go and lift up that little piece and go ahead and knot that off before we finish. So for the most part we'll have a knot in there so we can kind of hide it, and then just finish that off, catching that in there. And then just check your ends. Still have a little bit of an end here. And I'm just going to take that and bring it out the other side. Check again, make sure everything's sewn down well. And then just, you can either make a knot. I think I will make a little bit of a knot here again. And then just weave that rest of that in. And then just cut. And there you have it. And the baby has 3 places, trunk and 2 arms to be able to grasp on. So by the time they're 2-3 months old, they can already grasp onto them. So, and using the fleece, it makes everything lighter, and especially using the size 4 yarn compared to the blanket yarn. The other one is much heavier, but this is just as light as a feather when you do it with the fleece like this. And I was making them, I did make some for my great-grandkids. Yeah, I guess it would have been 2 years ago now almost, because they're almost 2. And when they were babies, I did make them, and I did make them out of yarn, and I didn't care as much for them out of yarn because they were heavy. They were cute, but they were also very heavy. So I hope that helps. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.